I believe we are live, right?
Yeah, we're on.
Welcome everybody to the Disability Digest live event on Wednesday, but this week held on Tuesday because of a schedule change. I'm here with Jam. Everybody welcome Jam, who does an excellent job moderating our event. These events
Hello,
are,
everybody.
great. These events are for big picture topics. Today, we're going to cover part 2 of check-related questions, like how much your benefits are worth, what the disability wage freeze is. We also have on tap today some questions from last week that were stumpers I wasn't able to answer. We'll cover today also when you get or should get your first Social Security disability check. So those are some of the things that we have on tap. Also, we're going to answer your questions. So if you have a question that you'd like to get answered, please put it in the chat. Jam will go through, we'll review those at the end of our presentation today. Should you put a survey in, Jam?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then have a heads up for the survey that's out there. So these events are big picture items here at the Disability Digest. We hope you enjoy the show. And they're held once a week, typically on Wednesday. So if you like the work we do, hopefully you do. We encourage you to subscribe, share, invite others. The more we have, the more the merrier. It helps us grow. And then, of course, the best way that we can help you is if you're new here, in addition to listening to the information, is to have you join as a member so we can provide you with a customized approach. So you don't need to go through all the 702 videos that are out there. We get you exactly what you need, shorten your time span to get to your goal, whether that's getting approved, keeping your benefits, or maximizing your benefits. Okay, so first of all, last week I was asked a question that I did not know the answer to. And it was regarding spousal benefits. This isn't something that I've covered because it's not really in the disability area of Social Security disability, which is what we do. But I put up on the screen here benefits for spouses, and the text at the top is pretty self-explanatory, that a spouse can draw off of their spouse's benefits, but there is a qualifying child component to it when a child under 16 who receives Social Security disability benefits is in their custody. So if you just type in benefits for spouses, you can learn more about that. But there isn't a disability component to it. That's just a regular benefit. Then also last week, there were some questions about the COLA, cost of living increase, and who is eligible for it. So first of all, maybe you haven't been paying attention to the news, but disability recipients and regular Social Security recipients are going to be getting an 8.7% increase. And this is effective next year. It's not this year, it's next year. So the question last week was, who qualifies? Do SSI recipients qualify? And the answer is yes. So this video was put out last week. It's on our YouTube channel. And there's a link to the regulation that is below it that will help you understand who qualifies. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put the video in the chat. How about that? Great. And if you have any COLA questions, of course, you can put those in here for us. And I see there's a lot of people that are just piling in, so welcome. And if you have questions, feel free to enter those. Jam's got a survey going for us. I hope I put the right link in there. I think I did. Okay, cool. How are we doing so far, Jam?
So far, so good.
Let's see. Yeah, so for the 115 of you out there, welcome. Let's see what's next I have here. Oh, okay. So from time to time, we get questions and concerns from individuals about surveillance. Like, does Social Security survey me? Did you bring this up recently, Jim? Was it you that raised this question from a member?
Yeah.
Okay. I've had different individuals said, you know what, it's a van parked across, the street, and there's two guys in there and they look like they're kind of checking my stuff out. I mean, does Social Security really do this? And this is my position on it. I review the budget that is put out and the amount of money that is allocated towards the integrity program and what they do with it. And there isn't anything in there that says that we're going to buy 20 vans and we're going to drive around and look at people. So I don't know that, and nor do others that do this work that, I associate with, are familiar with Social Security doing that. So it doesn't mean they won't. It just doesn't mean that we're not aware of it. But what could happen is if somebody is having surveillance done, long-term disability companies do this. And they're noted for doing it. So if you have a private insurance policy from like Unum or MetLife or Guardian, those companies have been known to do that. And a few things that I'll say about Social Security to just circle back. How they evaluate if you still qualify is not so much, or if at all, with vans and people. They do it with the continuing disability review process. And with the continuing disability review process, in your award letter, you'll get the timetable for when your review is going to be done. It's not always on time, but they are reviewing 20% of disability recipients annually. So with that, you receive a document, you got to fill it out, send it back in. If it passes, then you're likely not going to hear anything from them. If it doesn't pass, you're going to have to go to the next step and in essence, go back and some similar steps to going through the approval process for the first time. So here's a few tips on the whole thing. And what we do here is we teach you, how to prove what you need to prove to get approved and what you need to prove to get your benefits. And that starts with everything from daily diary, communicating your limitations, going to the doctors, and not doing stupid stuff, which could be, you're posting stuff on social media that you're horseback riding or jet skiing on vacation, and you got approved because you have a bad back, stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with using social media if it's used effectively. But communicating something that could be misleading to Social Security is going to cause a problem. Whole separate topic about not understanding the rules and working, or gets a lot of people in problems where they're like, I didn't know I could make that much money, and they're subject to overpayment. So that's my take on surveillance. So yeah, hopefully you won't be surveyed. Okay, so a few things I want to cover in the main topic is what your benefits are worth. I bring this up because there's a lot of individuals that kind of half-ass this whole disability approach to getting approved. And once you're approved, and they really don't understand what they have on the table. And this is a blog from Charles Hall that is for disability representatives, people that represent claimants. And he did this piece, and I've also broken it down based on our numbers for what we see the average check and benefits are worth. And they're not too far off. But I put this one up so that you get a break from looking at my stuff. But he breaks it down, and a rough estimate is $457,000 is what the average disability benefit package is worth. And this is a breakdown of information. We'll put this in the chat too. This is a breakdown of the value of the cash annually, and your Medicare. And for example, if you're a 52-year-old that's been out of work for 2 years and you just got approved, effectively, you'll have money from when you were 50, if you got your back benefits, all the way up until the time that you're 62. That's money that you wouldn't be able to receive from Social Security. So that's factored in. And then from age 62 to full retirement age, your disability check amount is more than your Social Security early amount. So, this is different based on the amount of work that you've done, taxes you've paid, what your age is when you get approved. But our numbers between what Charles puts out and what we have done here at the Disability Digest are very close, and $400 and something thousand. So if you're looking at trying to get approved, or if you're approved and you're in the process, I just encourage you to understand like what you have at stake here, and so that you do the right things to get approved fast, and you do the right things to stay on your benefits. And that's what JAM is here doing every day, to work and help people out with. So hopefully you'll find that helpful. Next thing I want to cover on the check related questions is when you get your first disability check. We don't know how many people out there are not approved today, do we? We didn't ask that question, I don't believe.
No, I didn't.
Okay. I don't have a prop for this one, so I'm just going to go back to the screen. Getting your first disability check is going to depend on when you get approved, obviously. But I'll use some examples. If you apply and you're at the initial application stage and you go through and you get approved, you can expect your decision in, like, I say 6 to 8 months now. And you could be paid before you receive your notice. I had a call last week, Pauline, I believe it was, in New Jersey, and she had called. She was actually speaking to us to get help. But the day that I called her, she's like, "You wouldn't believe this. I just got a large deposit in my bank account from the Federal Reserve. You have any idea what that's about?" So for her, she was approved at the 6-month mark, which is encouraging because there's still a lot of backlog with Social Security, and people are waiting, sometimes 18 months still for an initial decision. So that's the first opportunity to get paid, is at the initial application. The second one is reconsideration. If your first application gets denied, then you have the opportunity to appeal that in all except 10 states or thereabouts. Maybe it's 12 now. And if you're approved at that level, it is the same. You could get paid your back pay before you get your letter or notification. For those of you that are waiting out there, the first place you receive your notification is in your Social Security account. Your online account. Typically, before they mail it and send it, they'll put a notice in there. So the last step in getting paid is, let's say you went to a hearing in front of a judge. You go to the hearing's done, then there's a decision writing process. Could take 30 to 60 days. You get your decision. If it's favorable, they're going to tell you that you have another letter coming called your award letter. Another 30 to 60 days. So from the time of your hearing, it could be 60 to 120 days by the time you get your second letter. And it's at that time, when you receive your second letter, in and around there, when you should be paid. There's some things that delay it, like if you have Medicare, SSI, also like your SSI and Social Security disability, or work comp and other disability, Social Security disability, that could delay it. But those are the guidelines for when you can expect to get paid, and then your monthly payment will be like the month after that you get paid. One last thing on check related questions for today's program, and then we're going to start taking individual questions that you have out there. And if you're already approved, this may not apply to you, but it could definitely save somebody out there. And it's called the disability wage freeze. What happens when you stop work and you are your earnings are zero is every year that you have zeros factored into your earnings record with Social Security is it brings down your check amount. So if you're out of work 1 year, zeros, it's going to go down, second year more, so on and so forth. One of the values or benefits of applying for disability is that you stop the wage freeze from the day that your application starts. It shows that, okay, you stopped work and that zeroing factor it no longer exists, because it could take a $1,500 check that you have if you're just out of work, and then 2 or 3 years later, it could erode down to, you know, 1,200 or 1,100. So you want to stop that. So it's a nice benefit with Social Security. So if you know people that are out of work and they're kind of contemplating, they're optimistic that they might get better, they should really give strong consideration to applying and putting the wage freeze in place, and then looking at doing like work attempts to prove if they can go back to work. Because Social Security allows you to have a work attempt. You can work up to 3 months and have a really good chance of having no influence on your case and keeping the income, or possibly up to 6 months. It's called an unsuccessful work attempt. And there'll be some information out in like 7 to 10 days on it. So those are a few things on the check: how much your benefits are worth, when you get paid, and the Social Security wage freeze. So thanks all of you for joining, the 214 that are out there. If you have questions, this is the time of the program that we want to address those and general interest. But one thing, Jam did put up a survey. Is that the right word, Jim? Survey?
Pin question.
Questions. We would like to know what other topics would be beneficial for you to know about, to cover. Like, what's on your mind? Is it certain information about getting approved? Is there information about continuing disability reviews, overpayment, maximizing your check, housing, jobs? What is it that you would like to learn more about that we could help you with? So if you could address that as well. All right, Jam, you ready to roll? Let's do it.
Yes. All right, this one's from Linda. I am trying to get SSI to send me the balance of all back pay. I do not qualify for SSI going forward because my SSDI income is larger than SSI allows. And it took 4 years to get my approval, went before the ALJ, was approved fully favorable all the way back to November 18.
Great. Is there a question in that?
Not so sure.
Okay. Congratulations on getting paid. I hope you received all your back pay.
Yeah. Congrats, Linda.
Yeah, we look forward to helping you with your benefits. Just a heads up for those of you that are out there that are members, if you go through and your status changes, like you're not approved and you become approved, definitely go follow the links around this video, go to the Disability Digest and update your membership. The reason why you want to do that is it will change your status from not approved to approved, and then we can get you information to help you keep your benefits and maximize your benefits rather than going through the approval process.
All right, this one's from COVID 2020.
Oh.
Yeah. Hello, I have an off-topic question for you. My case seems to be stuck at 90% in the step 3 of medical review. Is this typical? And follow up, it was at a snail's pace since I filed in February until 3 weeks ago.
Oh, so it's kind of like
It's 90%, yeah, since February.
I don't know if there's anything typical about the process. I don't. So 90% is good. I would say this, in my opinion, there's likely still things that you could do, evidence that you could get in to maximize your chances, so that when you hit 100, you're going to have everything in place that you need. And that's what we teach you here to do with the Disability Digest. So encourage you to do that all the way through. One other thing, folks, I do want to point this out, is that when you're looking at adding evidence to your record to get approved, this 90% is a good example. A lot of people just kind of hang out, they're camping on it, waiting to see what happens. But I feel, this is my opinion, for disability income insurance, you should always be adding the right information that we teach you how to do all the way. Because even after you're approved, what goes in your record is going to be reviewed when you have your disability review. So you're not done. That's the point. Okay, next.
All right, this one's from Helen. When are they gonna get rid of marriage penalty on SSI?
Oh,
I'm the lowest on SSI, 60 years.
yeah, that's a tough one. I don't have an answer for you. Just be careful who
Right.
you vote for. It's my best advice.
And this one's from David Brown. Why won't the SSA let me apply for SSDI knowing I can no longer work, since I had a stroke back in 2014 and lost the use of the left side of my body?
Okay. It sounds to me like your disability insurance has expired.
Right.
And this is awful. And that's kind of back to the wage freeze, that if something happens to you and you don't apply for your disability benefits within the 5 years after you've worked, they expire. And this is tragic, right? Whatever check you had is gone. The only way to get it back is to go back to work. And I expect if you could, you would.
All right, this one's from Sonia. I got approved in 2007, and it took me 2 years to get approved. Just
All right.
sharing.
All right. Welcome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Been on
All right.
benefits for a while.
All right. This one's from Randy. Can anyone address the SSA Form 8011 F3 process, compliance, and/or default?
I'm not familiar with that form. What was the number again?
8011 F3 process.
So SSA 8011.
Right. F3.
Oh, okay. This looks like it is an asset and resources form. Household operating expenses. Yeah, it's an SSI deeming. They're trying to find out your household. I'll share it on my screen over here. I think I will. Where'd my program go? So for SSI, we provide some general information, but actually how to fill out forms relative to this is not something that we have experience in doing. But if you type in that form, it'll bring you to the operating procedure. This is when you see this on a page for Social Security, it's what the employees are supposed to use for operating guidelines. So you'll see they're looking for household expenses, individual contributions, and you're looking, is he looking for directions to fill it out? Is that right, Jim?
All right.
If you are looking for directions to fill it out and you're not comfortable doing it, one of the suggestions I'd have is to contact your local Center for Independent Living and ask for a benefits counselor. And just say, I'd like some help filling out this form. Make sure you bring in all of your supporting information. And Jim, if it's convenient for you to put the Centers for Independent Living link in the chat. Okay, can we move on to the next question?
Yes, this one's from Ronald. I'm 57 now. I started getting SSI and SSDA in 2012. My back pay was like 14K. It saved my life.
Great.
Good
That's
for
what it's
you,
there for.
Ronald.
Yeah. Welcome.
All right. This one's from Veronica. Do you recommend having your bank information available upon getting approved for SSD?
Definitely. They need to deposit the money somewhere, or I see people are using a direct express card as well. But yeah, it's required when you apply now that they want to have that in advance. Yep.
Right. This one's from Randy. Oh, sorry. From Linda. I was just approved in July. Finally got my back pay from SSDI. Wording to get SSI back pay in full? Question
Okay.
mark.
All right. Good news.
I think she's asking if she'll get SSI back pay in full.
I don't know. There's so many variables about what is involved there. But one thing that you can, you can count on is this, is you're going to receive the equivalent of your back pay for your Social Security month. So for example, let's say your Social Security check is $1,500, right? And you have 10 months of that. So you're going to receive $15,000 in my example. But if going through the approval process, you received $5,000 for SSI while you're going through the process, then you'll only receive 10 of your Social Security disability back pay. They'll send you two different letters that will explain it. One for the SSI, one for the SSDI.
All right, this one's from Drewski. I remember that process. They made me do a handful of puzzles to test my mental health. I think I did a short survey. I eventually had an in-person meeting with the board and then waited on my back pay.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up. That's one of the advantages, if it worked in your favor, to having an in-person hearing. A lot of the hearings are done now by telephone or video because of COVID, and that appears to be the trend going forward. So situations like that where you can actually demonstrate that you're not able to do something is good. We had somebody we were working with the other day that she told us a story that when she was in her hearing, she had like a seizure reaction to the pressure, and she was a cashier, and the judge asked her to make change. She gave her, I forget what it was, but it was all in bills, and she was expected to make change. So things like that do actually happen in a hearing. She wasn't able to do it, and she got denied. Imagine that. So you're doing great, Jam. Shout out for Jam, everybody. All 317 out there, give her hands.
Thank you, guys. This one's from Sonia. Do you think that Social Security disability will ever be stopped?
That's a really good question. You think about it this way, though. If you're a politician and you're trying to run on a platform that's going to do something negative to Social Security or our population of people, it's going to be tough. I mean, there have been certain party candidates that want to, as they say, sunset the program, but I don't. It's a tough one. I mean, there's 9 million disability recipients. So I don't think they're going to vote for anybody that would do that. I'd be surprised.
Right. This one's from Rogelio, just sharing. I've been denied 2 times and I appealed it. I got into.
What
I
was the
believe you
last
got
part?
approved.
Got
I
approved.
got, yeah,
Cool. Good for you. We have a lot of approvals out there. That's awesome.
yeah. Um, Here's one from Loana
Hi,
about the
Laura.
pin. Yeah, hi Loana, about the pin question. What other information? She wants to learn more about work from home jobs, part-time, and make her own schedule.
Perfect. Perfect. Great. Just a quick shout out on that. We do have other information or guests that are coming out, but what we did just release in the last week was a course on how to work from home freelancing. You could do it 2-3 hours a day. So if you look back through the videos from the last week for the words freelance, you'll see that there's 2 parts to it. There's actually a web page associated with it, which would be the best place to go. So definitely, I know that that's a big demand. Thanks for sharing that.
All right. This one's from Ronald. Homestead tax act reduction for disabled person who inherited a home from parents. Owned now between 6 siblings. Question mark.
That's a tough one. I'm not a tax expert. It doesn't have an impact on your Social Security disability benefits because it's unearned income, but I have to stay in my lane. I know what I know, and I know I don't know tax as well.
All right. This one's from Miguel. How long do I have to wait under reconsideration? Plus, I have a lawyer. Will this increase my chances as a 100% permanent and total veteran?
Great question. So reconsideration depends where you're at. You know, I would say the general expectations are 6 to 8 months. And if you have an attorney on your case, it could help your chances. Here is the false sense of security that I've seen in my 17 years. People that take cases and don't do the right things that need to be done to get them approved. I'm not saying that's the situation here, but what I encourage people to do and what we teach you to do here is to understand what needs to be done to get you approved at each step along the way and what not to do. Disability approval course. There's no charge for your membership. There's no charge for the course. Then you use that course to find out where you're at and what needs to be done. Then, once you understand that, this doesn't take rocket science. It's not like you need to be injected with the 17 years of experience that we've accumulated. It'd take you a few hours to understand the steps, if that. Then you check in with your attorney. Say, listen, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? And if they've done that and they're doing that, then there's a chance they're going to increase your opportunity to get approved. I don't know how else to put this, folks, but there's a lot of order takers out there where they'll take in the information, they'll communicate something that may sound good to you, but is not actually going to make a significant difference in your case. And if you're paying the same price for an attorney or non-attorney representative, I encourage you to find one or do it yourself that's going to do the work for you. One other thing on that, 100% disabled veterans are some of the hardest people to get approved. I'm just telling you. I've talked about it in other channels. You have to do a lot of things you've got to do right on that. And the barrier, a few barriers, you're receiving a benefit package from the VA. And believe it or not, a lot of the judges are ex-vets and they're like, I'm out working. You're already getting your 100%. You have to really work. You got to work hard if you want your disability benefits too. It's just, you know, and others that I know that do this work, they run into the same thing. So that's just one of like 4 variables that are faced with veterans at 100%.
All right. This is from Jamie. I go to my second doctor that they sent me to after my review. Question, what do I need to do if they cut me off disability and find me not disabled anymore?
Right. So we have a course here at the Disability Digest. We interviewed an industry expert on this topic, attorney James Mitchell Brown. So if you want to do the approach on YouTube, there's 4 of the 10 increments or steps in the course that are on the YouTube channel. Just type in CDR. If you're a member at the Disability Digest, then when you join us, contact us or just reach out to us. Just request the CDR course and we'll start it for you. And it has all of the 10 segments and like even has how to prepare, like what you should be doing before your review, what to do when you get it, what happens when you get denied, and it has access to legal support in there if you want it or need it to get your benefits turned back on. No guarantees, of course, but it's the full meal deal, how to survive your CDR.
All right, this one's a follow-up from Randy, the one who asked about the form 8011. He said, no, I am independent household, should not be served the firm. And besides, landlord won't fill it out because doesn't apply. Penalties attached to default against claimant.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the form. We don't do the SSI resourcing work, so that's my best suggestion is to find a benefit counselor, or hopefully you can do that and that'll work so you don't have to get somebody engaged legally to you have to spend money on.
This one's from, just give me 1 second. Dear priest, good afternoon. I've been approved for short-term disability. Then just yesterday, my echo shows I have a left side ejection fraction of 35%. I will automatically be granted disability if I was at 30%.
Maybe. Here's the thing, folks. I don't know if you're speaking of long-term or short-term disability or Social Security, but I'll speak to Social Security. If you have a condition, whether it's this particular one or whatever it is, and you go out on the internet and you search, does my condition qualify for disability? And you find that it's listed by Social Security as a condition. That doesn't mean that you qualify for it. There's some variables that are involved there. I'll use a back condition as an example. One, you need to have the back condition. You need to have visual evidence in MRIs or X-rays that you have it. Then you need to be treated for it. And then you need to have mobility limitations documented to prove that it has reduced your mobility. So if you have the condition, that's one thing, but you need to meet the 3 others for the listing. Or if you have diabetes, diabetes is a condition that's considered in, I don't know, there's a lot of people, I want to say 87 million people that have some form of diabetes, pre-diabetic all the way through, but not all of them qualify. So there's a degree of severity. So don't be misled by information you read about that. We can help you understand if you qualify and what you need to do here, but just don't think that it's done deal.
This one's from Ronald. It's been a while, still haven't heard anything back from SSI and also waiting on SSDI at 90% approval status. What is the next step? Been to the doctors from them, have not heard back yet.
Yeah, great video I put out earlier this week about initial application tips. I'll give you a few of them here. I think it was maybe yesterday, actually. So what you want to find out is if they have all the information that they need. A common situation that happens is, let's say you have 5 doctors and that you've reported to them, but they only have medical records from 4. And you're at 90% and they're waiting for the other medical records. So if you're working on the case on your own, this is work that you need to do, is to contact your case manager and just find out if all your medical records are on file, if there's any other information that's needed, any other evidence that's required, are all my forms back, all of these things. And then if they are, and they have all the information, then you can just ask them, well, what is there anything else I can do to help you make a decision today? Anything I can do today to help you today to make a decision? If you push for a decision and they don't have all the medical records, that's where I've seen this backfire for people, because you're putting Social Security in a situation where you're asking for a decision, and they could say, yeah, we'll make a decision. We don't have all the information we need. Denied. So, right. Key is understand the process, understand how to follow up. That video that was released yesterday should help you out. And if you're using a representative at this stage, definitely check that video out, because representatives have access to the Social Security case file at the initial application. So they can watch the records come in. Okay, 3 are in, 4 are in, 5 are in. Okay, it's all the evidence is in, it's go time. Let's go get a decision. All right, Jim.
All right, this one's from Warren. After 5 years, an SSDI, I am going to earn taxable income this year for self-employment. Will the last 5 years, 0 earnings, now be included in a recalculation of my earnings?
So is a disability recipient?
I believe, yes.
Okay. Well, good for you. I'm curious what you're doing, what type of work, but that sounds fantastic. I don't know. What's that?
Commission based. I know him.
Oh, you do, commission based. All right. That's great. If you're asking if it will influence your check amount on Social Security disability because you're working, I have not been able to find an answer to that. So if you earn $700 a month and it's taxable income and your check amount has been $1,500 and it's locked in on that, is it going to change it? I don't know, if that's the question. I'd love to find out, but I haven't been able to find the answer.
All right,
All
this
right.
one's for, okay, this one's from Tara, who I just spoke to earlier this morning, by the way.
Right, Tara.
Hi, Tara. If I applied for SSD, should I apply for SSI?
Yeah. If you're, well, here's the thing. If you went through it with Jam in your conversation, if you think you're a candidate, if you're single and your resources are below 1,500, or you're married and they're below 2,500, then it would make sense to do that. When it doesn't make sense to do that is if you don't feel you qualify, like maybe you've got an IRA account or some stocks or something, or you're married and your spouse is working and you apply. And the reason why is if you apply and you have the SSI piece in there with the Social Security disability, when you get awarded, that they have to sort out your back pay, and they're going to look at it even though you didn't qualify for SSI, and they're going to say, okay, how much SSI payments were sent? Do we need to deduct from the back pay? So that's the word of caution. Great question.
This one's from Urban G-Force. Sorry for typo. I received $600 from SS retirement after past child support. I only received $288. Can they deduct past child support from 30 years ago? And can SSI deduct my SSI retirement from my SSI disability?
I don't know on the child support one from 20 years ago. There's a lot of legals in there that I'm not comfortable saying yes or no. What was the second part? Deducting?
Can they deduct past child support from 30 years ago? And can SSI deduct my SSI retirement from my SSI disability?
Now you get one or the other.
Right.
So when you look in your My SSA account, you'll see if you're not approved, you're gonna see 3 check amounts. If you have worked enough, you'll see your age 62 amount. I'll call that $1,000 or 1,100 a month in this example. Your full retirement amount, which is $1,500 a month. And then your disability amount, which is typically about the same amount as your full retirement amount, 1,500. Those are your amounts. If you take them at 62, you know what you're getting, full retirement or disability, right? The deductions in the offset for SSI, you wouldn't get SSI and SSDI payments.
All right, this one's from Earl. Does being on SSDI qualify you for Medicaid benefits?
It could. So if you are on SSDI and your assets and income are below $1,500, then you could also qualify for Medicaid. And the value of that is you would get Medicaid coverage and all the Medicaid benefits. You would get your Social Security disability check, and you would get Medicare and all of the recovery, all of those benefits. So that's referred to as dual eligible. And the biggest value that I see for individuals that are dual eligible is they get access to a special set of Medicare plans that are amazing, that basically eliminate doctors' costs. They give you dental, hearing, vision benefits, food cards, shopping credits, you know, everything but walk the dog and do the dishes. They're really good. So yes, you can. I've got time for 2 more, Jim.
All right, this one's from Randy. Can you recommend SSI attorney in Denver Metro?
Denver
SOS.
Metro. I don't look at the recommendation that way because in my opinion, you're better off to find somebody that's good than you are to focus on finding somebody that's local. Here's my reasons for that. The rules are the same everywhere. And having someone local, it's always great. You go down to their office, have a coffee and a donut. But unless they're doing the right amount of cases, the high volume, and they're not doing, you know, other areas of law like, you know, dog bites and divorce, you want to steer away from those multi-practice shops. And that's typically the local ones. So that's my word of advice, unless there's some other reason why. And even now with the hearings are done mostly telephonic. So, you know, even if you have a local attorney, you might go to their office if they let you in and meet them once. But when you do a hearing, chances are you're going to be at your home and they're going to be wherever they are.
All right. Just a couple of thanks from our members, Brian, Luana, Linda, and Chrissy. So happy to be here. Walter and I are thankful for your support. From Linda, thank you for the work at home info. Luana, hello, Brian and Jam. You two are great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All
Okay,
right.
this is the last question.
Last question. One more.
Okay, from Ronald, going to be getting around 20 grand from an inheritance. When I can, not sure about the question. When I cash the check, should I take 95% of the money out of the bank?
Why? I'm not sure. If you're a Social Security recipient, that income won't affect your benefits. It's an unearned income. Yeah. Now, if you're not and you're receiving SSI, this I do know, that will be considered resources and it will likely end your SSI until you spend it down. Right. So good. Listen, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you, everybody. The 477 that are out there. We'll be back next week on Wednesday at 12:15, not Tuesday, but next week, Wednesday, we'll be back. We invite you to join us for the last episode of the check-related questions. And then we have other events coming up, job and income related ones, some other guest speakers in the upcoming week. So just a reminder to all of you that are out there, this is the time to get your benefits set up for 2023. If you're a disability recipient, we're seeing some amazing changes in the plan. So make sure you look at your last year plan, this year plan. Most of the changes are good. And we've put out information in some of these prior lives to help you understand like what you're entitled to, what some of the benefits are, and how to find them. So you can look for that around. So again, thank you. We encourage you to subscribe if you haven't already. Share this show with somebody else, invite them in, take advantage of it. And if you'd like a customized approach, we haven't heard from you in a while, or you're new, look for the link around the video, be below in the replay, where you can fill out your profile and we can get you the right information and the support that you need to get, keep, and maximize your benefits. Make it a great day. Until next week, everybody.